It's a new day, nothing in our way. This is the start of something big.
Well, it's Fat Tuesday, but before we say so long to Mardi Gras, we're going to learn more about its history in St. Louis.
Ooh, our friend and celebrity historian Raffi Andonian. Take a look at this bow tie. He looks fantastic. He's going to join us next to chat Mardi Gras season in St. Louis, plus share a fun craft you can do with your kids or grandkids on this Fat Tuesday.
Very entertaining.
He is so ready.
He's having a parade.
He really is, and it's coming up next. Welcome back to Great Day on this Fat Tuesday. As we know, Mardi Gras isn't just a day here in the Lou. It's a season with celebrations taking place for an entire month ahead of today, which, yes, is Fat Tuesday. So while the celebrations have come and gone here in St. Louis, there's still so much to learn about Mardi Gras. And with that, we turn to our friend and celebrity historian and fashion icon, Raffi Andonian. It's so good to see you, sir.
Hey, great to see you on Fat Tuesday, especially. Some decadence.
Absolutely, and you always bring the charm and the goods and the details.
Well, thank you.
What is the history of Mardi Gras?
Well, believe it or not, it starts as something known as Boeuf Gras, or Boeuf Gras, which means fat beef or fat cow or fat calf. So back in the day, in the medieval Europe, you would actually have a fat calf. There was a fat calf society that you would use as a decadence before you're going to do the abstinence of the Lent, of course, which Ash Wednesday is tomorrow and it starts up. Well, that tradition carries over to Mobile, Alabama, where they did the first Mardi Gras in North America, where they would have a giant bull's head that they would roll onto the street in honor of that. Believe it or not, yeah, kind of funny to think about that, but it makes sense when you think of Fat Tuesday and Mardi Gras as a sort of a decadent season. Now, it gets to New Orleans and the balls that we know of in the 18th century with the governor of Louisiana when it was a French territory, but the Spanish come in and don't like it. So the Spanish say, no, we're not going to do Mardi Gras, too decadent. Well, leave it to America, the United States, to save the day, because when the U.S. came there, they brought it back. It was college students that actually went to France, were inspired by the revelry and the masks and the costumes. They brought it back, and it was approved in the 1830s and became more organized the way that we know it today. By the 1850s, you have a formal parade season that's taking place there by Mobile people that helped start it, believe it or not. And it's the 1870s that you have the famous crew called T-Rex. Now, if you were to look at New Orleans this year, you'd see Shaquille O'Neal was the king of T-Rex, okay? Now, here's what's fascinating about the colors of Mardi Gras. Look at the colors of Mardi Gras. We have purple, green, and gold, right? Well, that was the crew that created the colors of Mardi Gras in the 1870s. And just like Shaq was the king of the parade at that time, back then it was the Russian Grand Duke that was the king of the parade, and it was his family colors.
And we need to get to also St. Louis, but also the adorable shoebox float
So
you brought
what
that
you
Ken
can
is
do
laughing.
at home is make yourself a shoebox float like we have here. It takes construction paper, a shoebox, and of course some faces of your favorite TV personalities. And I even got some beads to throw out of the float, just like you're supposed to do in Mardi Gras. And now what's really interesting about this, if you want to see the step-by-step, is you go to Crayola, Crayola.com, just like the crayons, and they show you the step-by-step. And here in St. Louis, because speaking of floats in St. Louis, the way we have that Mardi Gras is that tradition comes up from the French in New Orleans to St. Louis in the 1870s. There is Mardi Gras here more than 100 years ago, before the modern iteration, because of the French influence. But the modern Mardi Gras that we see in St. Louis today is from the 1980s, a revival of that culture. In the 1980s, you see revival culture throughout the country, and you see that here in St. Louis as well. And I love that it's pretty in the spirit of the authentic Mardi Gras, because it's an entire season, as you said. You have the Cajun cook-off, you have all kinds of things, the pet parade, instead of just a day. And I think that's really cool and separates from much Mardi Gras around the country, more like New Orleans.
That's why we keep inviting him back. I mean, my goodness, the energy, the parade, the float. Oh, you do it so well. You can find this segment and learn even more on firstalertflorida.com/greatday following the show. Guys, I'm hyped up, and I'm so glad we don't have a big bullhead going down the street today.
Yeah.
That was a visual.
They didn't shove a baby in the bullhead, did they?
I hope not.